Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the 2025 Lexus IS500 F Sport. This model here has the special appearance package. It is celebrating Lexus's 25th year with the IS model. They have this limited to 180 units. It's also finished off in an exclusive flare yellow, and the MSRP is just over $69,000. Huge shout out to not only Hendrick Lexus Northlake, I'll have a link to their website down in the description, but also to the owner for allowing me to film his brand new vehicle. So definitely a very nice spec to see. Let's get it right into it though and start off with what this IS500 is powered by. You will find the 5-liter naturally aspirated V8. It's paired to the 8-speed automatic. This pumps out 472 horsepower, 395 pound-feet of torque. That power is sent to the rear wheels, propelling this 3,900-pound sedan from 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds. It has a top speed of 149 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 17.4 gallons, and you'll expect to see 17 miles per gallon in the city, 25 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 110.2 inches. Its overall length is 187.3. It has a width of 72.4, a height of 56.5, and its ground clearance measures in at 5.5 inches as well. Now, as we take a look at the exterior styling, this yellow is definitely a very nice color for this sedan. You'll notice there's a lot of gloss black too, giving it a great contrast. Now up front, the Lexus badge is also the sensor for the distance pacing. There's a forward-facing camera, parking sensors as well, and then the hourglass design for that grille with a lot of cutouts to provide cooling to the engine. There's also large inlets in the lower section and then some more gloss black trim accents on both sides. Now this has LEDs with that triple beam design along with the iconic DRL strip and the turn signal in the upper section of the housing. And then very nice lines that come down the hood. They also meet the points of that hourglass design very nicely, giving it a subtle look, but then you have that large grille to give it more of an aggressive, sporty front end. Now, as we work our way to the side with this F Sport performance model, this of course has the F Sport suspension. It also has rear performance dampers as well. And then this model has a new design for the 19-inch wheels, along with having the black brake calipers. There's the F Sport badge just behind that, and then gloss black for the side mirrors. They have a camera and a turn signal. You'll notice there's more black accents for all of the window trim, and then a sunroof up top. And there's even more gloss black in the lower side skirt to tie it in nicely, and some very nice angular lines running down the lower section. There's also a crisp point running at the height of the door handles. Now in back, there's gloss black for the spoiler. There's also gloss black accents for the LED taillights there that run from side to side running through the trunk there. There's all the parking sensors, backup camera, and then in the lower section, more gloss black and the quad exhaust. You'll notice they have a staggered setup on both sides just to give it a unique look. Now, as we work our way to the cargo space, you can use the button on the key fob or the hidden button up underneath, and you have a good bit of space for this sedan. So you can place in a lot of items. You can also fold down the back seats too, just to get a little bit more space. And this does have a spare tire underneath. You could use that for additional storage as well if you needed to. And there's even tie down hooks too, so that way you can tie down any items that you may have. And there's one grab handle on that right side, very light trunk lid, so it's easy to close. Now, as we work our way to the interior, for this model, you'll notice all of the yellow stitching too, which is a part of that package. Really nice material along with the brushed accents surrounding the window control there. There's one speaker in the lower section, and then you will notice more stitching, more micro suede with the two-tone design for the back seats. And at 5'10", as I hop in, you have a good bit of space. There's a storage pocket on both sides, vents in the middle. You have a small bulge in the middle here, so your middle seat passenger would have a foot on both sides, but it's not that large compared to some other models. And at my height too, I'm just barely touching the headliner, but these seats are very comfortable. I could go around town, maybe on a short road trip, and you still have plenty of space for backseat passengers. Now, right in the middle, there's the armrest, and then cup holders poke out of the end there. And then here's a look at visibility. You have a small pillar back there, so it's pretty easy to see around this entire area. And then up front, memory seating adjustments for this model. There's also power folding side mirrors, all of the window controls, lock and unlock, and then you get storage for the front door panels. And then F Sport is down on the door sill, and the front seats are automatic with that same two-tone design and all of the yellow stitching. Now you have a pretty small door sill, so it's very easy to enter, where we're greeted with the solid and perforated leather steering wheel. But let's fire this up now and take a listen to that NA V8. And coming back to the digital gauge cluster now, you'll notice there's a temperature icon on the left side as well as on the right, and the fuel gauge. And then you can use these arrows on the right side of the steering wheel to further go through this information. So if I just start scrolling, you can go through a little bit of information. You'll notice, of course, the tach is surrounding that along with miles per hour and what gear you are in, but that is all that you can see until you shift the entire tach to the right, where you can pull up some of the same information that we just saw. However, you have a lot more that you can go into by scrolling left or right. So you can pull up the additional information here, even go through a lot of the standard safety features, so you can customize those and set those up to your liking. There's also some vehicle settings that you can get into and set that up. And then you also have meter settings, so you can go into all of this as needed. So a good bit to go through, and then you can hide that away when you are finished. This also has paddle shifters on both sides. You have lane keeping assist, distance pacing. This is the pages button basically to shift that tach. Cruise control is on the lower right, and then there's Bluetooth voice commands, volume, and tuning along with mode. Now to the left of the steering wheel, there's dimmer switches, an odometer reset, there's automatic headlights. This does have a rear sunshade for that back glass. And then when you push on view, this brings up the 360 view, where you have two different angles that you can go through just to see around the entire vehicle. So before you put it in drive or reverse, you can have a second set of eyes within that screen there. The last one here is for the piped in exhaust noise that you can turn on and off, which is pretty neat to see. There's one air vent too, more leather for the gauge cluster top. And then with the infotainment system, it is a touchscreen system, or you can use the controls down below where you have the trackpad, map menu, and a back button. This also has a split screen, so that way you can pull up some information on the right side and you can have the nav going over on the left. So just depending on what you would like to see. And then menu is going to pull up all of these icons in the lower section where you can get into your climate controls, so you can set all of that up. You can also get into projection, which is how you can pair your phone to the system, and you have a few others to go through, which is very nice. Now you have a clock in the middle, air vents on both sides, and then some physical controls for all of the climates. Fan speed, temperature, where you like the air to go. There's even defrosters too. Now there is a CD player underneath that. You have power and volume tuning and a few of those controls. And then this is also equipped with heated and ventilated seats and a heated steering wheel. You do have a few different driving modes that you can go into, and you will notice that change on the right side of the infotainment system as well as the gauge cluster too. So the entire background will change depending on the mode. There's a snow mode, traction control, and auto hold. And then when we put this into reverse, you get the backup camera with a top-down view, and you have a few different guidelines here depending on what you would like to see and how you want to have that set up. When you put the vehicle into drive, reach over to the left side, push on that view button again. You can have that automatically pop up at slower speeds, and then that is the forward-facing angle that you get. Now you can also shift using the shifter or the paddle shifters. There's cup holders behind that. You get some auxiliaries and storage in the armrest, along with plenty of storage in the glove box. And then there's garage door buttons up top, dome lights, and the sunroof adjustments. Sunshade is manual adjusting. And here's a look at visibility. Very easy to see over the right side, and then same goes for the left. You have a large window there to easily see. So as we get out on the road now with this special edition IS500, this is going to be a quick test drive as you would expect, but I want to talk about the 500 in general with the experience that I've had behind the wheel, and I want to highlight the IS500 that we got to take a hot lap in around a racetrack. The only modification done to that vehicle, it was lowered and it had a different set of wheels and tires on it, and that was the most fun I've had in one of these vehicles. It really changed my perspective with this car. Now, obviously you're not driving an IS500 on the racetrack every day, but these cars really shine in the higher RPM range. So we're just driving like normal right now, of course, but I would say above 5,000 RPM, you can really get this into the higher RPM range. You have a huge rev range to play with, and you are going to get some more crisp shifts. You're going to get a really fun vehicle in those higher RPM range. Now, not to say you can't have fun in the lower RPM range, but these really do shine with that NA engine when you rev them out a good bit. And around the racetrack, it really changed my perspective with this car. When you see other brands going to turbo engines, twin turbo engines, we do have some engines from Lexus with the twin turbos, which I think would be sweet to see in both the 350 and this 500. But with this NA engine, it still gives you just a different perspective and a different feeling when you drive this vehicle. So if you're taking this on some back mountain roads and just really enjoying what it has, it's still a fun vehicle, and the lap around the racetrack proved that to me with the time that we got to do that. So this is by far a fun vehicle if you are looking for something with that NA engine, something that is going to be and is proven to be very reliable too. Now I have it in Sport Plus. We'll just give it a minor acceleration here. And it sounds good even under that mild acceleration. Check out the other reviews that I've made on the 500s to see some more driving impressions, as well as the full track video with the IS500, so that way you can really see that too. But this is a fun vehicle to drive. This is definitely something that is going to be a great daily driver for the owner, and especially in this yellow, you are going to stand out for sure. But it's a very nice color for this Lexus. You just don't see that color too often. Seats are very comfortable too. I like the materials that they have. We have a good size for the steering wheel too, and like I mentioned, I think the paddle shifters are going to be very responsive too. So it's going to give you a nice sporty drive. And with the F-Tune suspension, it's a good blend between just normal daily driving and having the suspension to take it around some corners. This vehicle can handle very well. And it's just a very fun vehicle to drive if you're looking for that NA V8. And from second gear, we'll give it a small acceleration. And it definitely sounds good. Again, higher RPMs out on the track, mountain driving. This has a lot of potential for it. So here's what it's like to be behind the wheel for the 2025 IS500. I think this has a good blend between being driver focused and also not having too much technology. I like that there's very minimal buttons, but you have pretty much everything that you need, even heated and ventilated seats, heated steering wheel. It gives you a good blend between not having too much tech, but also just being a really good daily driver and having the options that you need. It's also going to be practical, so you can put people in the back, of course. You have trunk storage space, and you just have a really nice vehicle for the money. It's pretty quiet too. I like that for 2025. We do have some upgraded features like the power folding side mirrors and a few other interior features. So we have a lot of changes for the 25-year model. This is celebrating Lexus's 25th year with the IS models. I have been able to review a few of the 350s, so if you want to take a look at those videos and see some of the changes. But it's a nice vehicle. I like all of the materials that this has to offer. It would be cool to see at some point, I'm not sure if this is the last year for the IS models, but it would be neat to see maybe some of their twin turbo engines that they have in other Lexus models, maybe incorporate it into this somehow or have that as an option. If this is the last year, that might not happen, but it would be cool to see just a completely new model, possibly at some point. The IS has had a long run for sure, but regardless, it's a fun vehicle even without any of those changes. A lot of people like the NA engine, so that is something that really draws people towards this and the 350, and I would agree. It's a great engine, it sounds really good, and it just gives you a good blend with this daily driving performance sedan. But that is going to wrap it up for the 2025 Lexus IS500 F Sport. Once again, huge shout out to Hendrick Lexus Northlake along with the owner for letting me check this out. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a huge thumbs up and consider smashing that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with our daily uploads, and I will see you all in the next video.